These came all the way from the year 2000. Hey guys, welcome back to a Kicks Business channel. Today we're looking at a Reebok Ventilator DMX, and this model came all the way from the year of 2000. This is 23 years ago, and now we're looking at this perfect DS pair that is completely wearable with no problem whatsoever. Unfortunately, I don't have the box, but hey, I will take a perfect pair with no box than just the box, right? So there's a lot to talk about this one. You guys are gonna see it on the close-ups. You guys are gonna see them on feet. But I will break down the technology here, and we're gonna talk about all the things that Reebok were doing right at the time, and some of the things that led to Reebok being sold to Adidas in sort of in the mid 2000s and kind of losing their identity. So if we look at this shoe, this is very signature to the late 90s, early 2000s, with a lot of overlays, a lot of underlays, a lot of three-dimensional details like the one on the lateral side that looks like ribs. A lot of minimalistic branding, including the vector, including the DMX patch on the midsole. A lot of that stuff was very, very reminiscent at the time, and I really appreciate that minimalistic branding. I've mentioned it many times before on other models. They've placed a lot of tiny vectors across the whole shoe, including the one that is super small right at the front or below the toe box on the midsole. We have one on the heel that is reflective. Also reflective in the heel, we have Reebok with kind of a 3 reflective stripes. We have one on the outsole, kind of placed above the DMX system, one on the tongue, alongside with the Reebok branding. So there's plenty of minimalistic branding here. And this particular pair was produced in July of 2000. So again, that's almost 23 years ago. One of the things I really liked at the time is when you have the insole, when you pull the insole or just looked on the insole, they are kind of breaking down the system, what kind of DMX you're seeing here. And here we have the sort of a second generation 6-pod ones, which we have 3 pods in the back line up or stacked up against each other, and 3 on the forefoot with the air moving bridge. This was actually quite comfortable, and as comfortable as it was back in the day. You put these on feet and you instantly feel the air moving. This is one of the things I'm really missing from the DMX system back in the day, that sensation of the air moving from your heel to toe when you rock back and forward. They went to the extent here, and you will see the insole is not your regular Reebok Athletics insole with the arch support, which of course is here. But on top of that, we have a TPU reinforced forefoot, which also helped with propelling your foot forward when you're running, because these were performance runners at the time. And at the same time, it was sitting right on top of the DMX system, so you don't feel the 3 pods poking through and hitting you on your foot, which might cause some discomfort. With that TPU right below the insole, it really helps mitigate that sensation. Another big thing to mention here, and this is probably my favorite feature with the Ventilator series, all the way from the beginning of the 90s. I really like the Ventilator series because of this feature, and this is the reinforced medial side or dual density midsole plus TPU, which was supporting your foot so it doesn't shift towards the medial side and helps you go to the lateral side more. Personally, I tend to shift my foot inwards, so that helped a lot, and the Ventilator was meant to help you a lot. And here, not only we have the dual density midsole, which is the white portion of the midsole is softer than the gray portion of the midsole. And on top of that, we have the TPU bridge. You can see the translucent TPU bridge that kind of extends to the bottom of the shoe. And that TPU bridge additionally supports your foot not to shift. On the outsole, if you look, we have DMX branding, we have the vector, and we have kind of these poke through the midsole and the outsole sort of windows that are colored. But this is the DMX system being seen. Now, it's cool that you can see it. Functionally wise, I was not a huge fan of, because if you step on something sharp and goes throughout these windows, and that can potentially poke through and pierce the DMX system. And of course, after that, you're pretty much dead on the water. But it's pretty cool, and if you're not running on anything sharp, rocks or anything potentially that can damage it, you should be fine with that. But the outsole, you can see it's very, very rugged. The thread is very unique and different. It's not your typical herringbone or anything like that. all the way to the heel. That rubber is very thick, so if you're dragging your heel, you're not gonna have any problems. They are surprisingly light for DMX shoe, and I'm sure Reebok at the time was working hard to minimize the weight of the DMX, because initially people were complaining that some of the DMX 10 shoes were too heavy compared to some other competitive runners or basketball players. But this is pretty light in my opinion. A lot of mesh and a lot of synthetics on the top, which obviously at the time all the runners had a lot of mesh and a lot of synthetics. They were not known to have genuine leather, and I actually prefer it to look like this, especially with the mesh, because that provided a lot of breathability at the time. And what we used to call these is, we used to call them a summer sneaker, basically, because you wear them in the summer when it's hot, and the winter sneakers, we were referring to the basketball ones because they were the higher ones that had the leather, so you can kind of wear them in the winter when it's cold. And you know, if you have only one pair of sneakers or two, let's say summer and winter, you wear them around the year without having to wear boots or anything like that. But you know, that was the time when I was growing up, and that's how we used to call them. The laces are nothing special, just the regular Reebok laces. They're kind of round that you see even today. The lacing system is with these bungees, so kind of a speed lacing system, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 holes, where the top one is not part of the bungees, and once you tie them up, they stay in place with no problem. The inner liner is dark and matching the some of the overlays on the outside. And I'm actually genuinely surprised how well preserved these are. DS pair, of course, you know, no sole separation, no problems whatsoever with the upper. Again, super wearable, put them on feet. If you find yourself a pair of these, you can definitely see what a real DMX system feels like, and actually wear them for a while before something happens to them, because I don't think these are gonna go, you know, and disintegrate or separate the soles. Once you start wearing them, the glue will reheat and kind of bond itself with the midsole again, and you're not gonna have any problems. So what can I say? I'm extremely happy to find this pair. Again, after scouting eBay, I'm always on the lookout for something that I think it's gonna be wearable and I can get to show it to you on the channel, and of course enjoy and add it to my collection. But this Ventilator DMX from the 2000 is excellent. I love this colorway. At the time, they released several different colorways between the summer of 2000 and kind of the spring of 2001. This is actually one of my favorite colorways because it has orange. Orange is one of my favorite colors. And of course, combination with the royal and the white. It looked great. In my opinion, the Ventilator models and the Ventilator series was one of the most successful ones that Reebok tailored towards a lot of competitive runners. And they were very comfortable for people like me with that extra support on the medial side of the midsole. That's pretty much it, guys. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe if you're new. Check out some of the videos that I recently posted as well. Soon we're gonna have some more. And as always, guys, you have a wonderful day.